This lesson is a continuation of the previous lesson in which we are covering upper body pushes and prehab. This one we'll be talking about upper body pulls. So just a really quick review on what pushes and pulls are and the difference between the two. Push exercises, once again, are working muscles. They're going to contract as the weight is being pushed away from the body. So the muscles contract as you push. You see the primary muscles being chest or your pec, triceps, quads, calves, and shoulders. Whereas pull exercises, which we will be talking about today, are going to be ones in which working muscles contract as the weight's being pulled towards our body, or the muscles contract as you pull. So these are going to be things like your back muscles, your biceps, your hamstrings, your obliques, and your traps. Similar to the last lesson, just take a second to think about what might be some examples of pull exercises. We just talked about different muscles, so what might those muscles look like in terms of movements we use for them? So take a second to do that. Even if you don't take a second, I guess I have no way of knowing, so whatever. Horizontal versus vertical pulls. So once again, like with the pushes of the upper body, we have horizontal and vertical movements. With the pulls, our horizontal pull is going to be any exercises that involve moving weight towards our torso or towards our body horizontally from straight out in front of us. So things like a bent over row, a seated cable row, things like that. A vertical pull is going to be any exercise that involves moving a weight down vertically in relation to one's torso so that you're pulling it down over your head. It can be directly above your head or that general area, but it is a noticeable difference from what we would see with the horizontal. So this could be things like lat pull downs, pull-ups, chin-ups. We can go an upright row with a barbell. Those would be examples of vertical pulls. Some bilateral horizontal pull exercises. Horizontally speaking, we could do an inverted row. We can do it with a trap bar. We can do a barbell or a TRX. The TRX is what we see here on the right-hand side. The weight or the resistance is our body, but we're taking that from straight out in front of us and pulling ourselves towards the straps. That is considered a horizontal pull. A bent over row, whether it be barbell, dumbbell, or bench supported. A Kaiser with a 2-arm row. We can go standing, we can go kneeling. That could be not just a Kaiser, but any type of cable pulley system. And then face pulls, in which we're now, rather than pulling it directly towards our chest, we're going to be pulling that up more in the direction of our face with our elbows high. This can be a Kaiser, this can be a banded. Some unilateral, we can go a single arm inverted row. These are really tough. Calls for you to really stabilize through your core, through your torso a lot more. That can be done with a barbell. That can be done with a TRX strap. We can go a single arm bent over row. We can do that just completely bent over. We can also do it from a 3-point stance, which is what we see here in this picture. 2 feet on the ground, 1 foot on either a dumbbell rack, a platform, or whatever it may be. So 3 points of contact. We can go alternating bent over row or chest supported row. We can do a standing or kneeling single arm row. That can be a half kneeling position, so on one knee, or tall kneeling, in which you're on 2 knees. We can do this with a band, a Kaiser, a cable, whatever equipment you have available. And then a Kaiser rotational row. What that's going to do is you're going to utilize one arm with that, but you're going to start facing towards the pulley system, and then you're going to rotate away from it, bringing that arm and that cable with you, really focusing and emphasizing on rotational power. Some videos that we can go with. We have a trap bar inverted row. Why we might choose a trap bar inverted row, which is what we see here on the left, could be just a shoulder. It's more favorable for the shoulders. It's going to put you in a neutral position, so it allows you to go up without being really locked into place like you would with a barbell. So here's an example of a trap bar inverted row. Heels are in the ground. He's pulling himself up, chest up to that bar. So that's a trap bar. We can go legs straight. We can also go knees bent, legs up on a bench, whatever you may want. Bench supported dumbbell row. So we're going to have our chest on the bench. From there, we can rotate the grips that we use. So that's what we see here. Grips are neutral. They're towards the body, away from the body, depending on what you want. And when we roll up, we can keep it tight to the body, squeezing through our mid or upper back, or we can keep it a little wider, just depending on what you're trying to target for various muscles. Kaiser face pulls, like we said, that's not going to come directly to the chest. I guess that video's gone. You can look up just a cable face pull, but it's not going to come directly to the chest, but it's going to come up towards the face a little bit more with the elbows nice and high. TRX single arm. So once again, this is going to be one in which we're really going to force ourselves to stabilize through our core, through our torso. Notice as he goes up, his shoulders stay fairly equal and parallel to the ground, and not letting that other shoulder dip. Single arm bent over. So this is a 3-point of contact, 1, 2, 3, getting that elbow up nice and high as he pulls. Biggest thing with that is we want to be slow and controlling the movement. We don't want to jerk it like we're going to be doing a lawnmower, like we're starting a lawnmower. We want to be really smooth with that. Half kneeling single arm Kaiser row. So this is going to be from a half kneeling position. We want to pull that shoulder blade back as we set up for this movement. So he pulls it back, he brings it in. That arm that's working is going to be opposite of the leg that's up, same side as the knee that's down. So that's our Kaiser row. And then if we want to go rotational row for rotational power, you set up in which you're facing towards the pulley system in a stagger or split stance position, and then you're going to pull that lever towards your body as you rotate away. So that's what we see here. Rotate through, getting your hips around and shifting your feet. Notice his toes go from pointing away from us to pointing towards us as he finishes. Nice and high with that. Looking at bilateral vertical pulls, various things like pull-ups, chin-ups, neutral grip pull-ups in which our palms are facing towards one another. We can also do pull-downs, whether it be a lat pull-down machine, a Kaiser machine, a band pull-down, as well as good as kind of a progression. We can go upright rows with a barbell or a dumbbell, as well as shrugs with barbells, dumbbells, or kettlebells. Single arm, we can go a single arm lat pull down, which is what we see in the picture to the left on the screen here. We can go a single arm Kaiser pull down, which is going to be just the same thing on a Kaiser machine. Banded pull downs is a progression. Alternating banded pull downs, and if you have the proper machine, you can do the same thing alternating with the lat pull down machine. You can go single arm upright rows, alternating upright rows, and then also single arm or alternating shrugs. Some neutral grip pull-ups, that's what we see right here. We won't watch a video on it. If you want to on your own free time, you can. It's just a pull-up with your palms facing towards one another. Our barbell upright row is one in which we're going to be standing upright, and we're going to bring that barbell up as high as we can with our elbows staying higher than our wrists. We want to keep that bar tight to our body as we row up. And like we said, that finishing position is with those elbows high and higher than the wrists, squeezing through the upper portion of our back. That's our upright row. Single arm Kaiser pull downs. This can be done from a seated position as well as in a actual pull down machine. But if you have this Kaiser, odds are it's going to be too short to sit down on an actual bench. So this is a way of doing it. Half kneeling banded pull downs. We can go 2 arms. In this video, as we see a bilateral, we can also go 1. We're pulling that down towards our body. We're really squeezing through our back as we get to the bottom there. And apparently it's also a very good alternative to pull-ups during pregnancy. That's a fun fact for you, I guess. Single arm dumbbell upright row, similar to that of our standing row with a barbell, but now we're just going 1 arm, elbows nice and high, keeping it tight to our body. And then lastly, a single arm shrug. Probably don't need a video for this, but we're going to put one in there anyway. You're just shrugging with 1 arm. It's pretty straightforward. So that's everything we have for our pulls for the upper body. Feel free to try some of these hands-on. TRX row paired with a shoulder mobility or shoulder prehab Cuban press. Half kneeling single arm banded pull down paired with some T-spine mobility, a T-sweep. A single arm bent over row with a T-cup, shoulders, and dumbbell shrugs with a half kneeling banded T-spine. So as always, let me know if you have any questions.